But he knows what sells, and he's incredibly successful. But there were two artists that he always struggled with, and that was Marvin Gaye and Stevie, because Stevie said, I'm going to write and produce and do my own thing. If you want to sign me, great. And if you don't, I'll go somewhere else.
From the moment Mick and Keith met through to U2 as a high school band in Dublin, how did our biggest music legends make the leap? Passion, talent, luck, and even scandal often came together to propel these stars from obscurity to household name. The stories, the journey, the wild behind the scenes, and much more. I'm Dave Anthony, and I'm the host of From Garage to Stadiums. A bright spot came very unexpectedly out of a challenging situation in 1966 when Stevie Wonder was 16. As Stevie's voice began changing during adolescence, Berry Gordy of Motown actually considered dropping him until a woman named Sylvia Moy stepped in to help. Who was Sylvia Moy? Well, she was a Motown performer herself, but Berry Gordy had asked her to instead become a songwriter to supply the Motown acts in need of constant new song material. Sylvia thought highly of Stevie and begged Berry Gordy for one more shot for the youngster Stevie. She promised to write him a hit. That hit was Uptight, Everything's All Right on his 1966 album of the same name. And incredibly, because of Stevie's blindness, Sylvia had to feed Stevie each line through his headphones as he recorded, just one line ahead of the now 16-year-old. Somehow, Stevie nailed it. The success of Uptight marked Stevie's transition from child prodigy to mature recording artist and saved his career at Motown. Uptight reached number 3 on the pop chart. Suddenly, Stevie wasn't just a prodigy, he was a hit maker. Another track from that album, Nothing's Too Good for My Baby, climbed to number 4, further proving he was now a marketable force with real creative input. After the success of the song Uptight, the next couple of years started to accelerate Stevie. In 1967, still only 17, his album, I Was Made to Love Her, started to reveal his signature sound with the title track going to number 2 on the Billboard pop charts in July 67. By 1968, Stevie followed up with the album For Once in My Life. That title track became another smash, reaching number 2 on the pop charts, just shy of the top spot, blocked by Marvin Gaye's I Heard It Through the Grapevine. Still, Stevie kept the momentum going with Shooby Dooby Doo Day, which made it into number 9 on Billboard. Not only did he write the songs, he actually co-produced the album at age 18. His voice, songwriting, musicianship, and production oversight were now fully in sync, and the world was starting to realize just how special he was. In 1969, with his album Chérie Amour, Stevie displayed his genre-defying versatility to produce mainstream pop and love songs, with the title track going to number 4 on the charts. It was his 8th top 10 hit, and he was still only 19. The hits continued. 1970, Signed, Sealed, and Delivered went to number 3 on the Billboard charts. In 1971, Stevie Wonder reached another turning point, both musically and personally, when he began co-writing with Motown artist Syreeta Wright, who had become his wife the year before. Their partnership marked a creative breakthrough. For the first time, Stevie released an album called Where I'm Coming From that featured all original material, co-written entirely by him and Syreeta, rather than having covers of other artists on an album. Songs like If You Really Love Me and Do Yourself a Favor showed a new depth and direction in Stevie's songwriting.
Exactly. He just heard music. And probably because he couldn't see the reaction of people around him or whatever, or, it was just that's what his mindset was. And when he comes, I think his first album after that deal you're talking about is Where I'm Coming From. And a lot of it, he wrote that with his girlfriend at the time, Syreeta Wright, and he produced her 2 solo albums.
Yes, that's right.
Which are brilliant, by the way. The first one is, here we go. The other thing...
Well, the first album with Syreeta was the first time that he actually did their own material, correct? There wasn't any covers on that album.
As we mentioned earlier, Stevie's early royalty earnings were placed in a trust fund till he turned 21. So when he did turn 21 in 1971, he was shocked at how little money he had and believed he was financially shortchanged. especially considering the massive profits Motown and Berry Gordy made off of hits like his many top 10 hits. However, this was standard practice at Motown during the 1960s, especially with young or less business-savvy artists. Many Motown artists, including the Supremes, the Temptations, and Marvin Gaye, later complained about unfair financial treatment.
And so he then comes back and he says to Berry Gordy, I'm going to do my own albums now. And Berry Gordy's a funny one because Berry Gordy's running a very Berry Gordy's commercial instincts are impeccable, because by the time Stevie's now doing this, he's had hit after hit. He knows, he's a taskmaster, but he knows what sells, and he's incredibly successful. But there were two artists that he always struggled with, and that was Marvin Gaye, who said, I want to do the What's Going On album, and Berry fought him all the way until it went to number one, and then Berry was all over him. And Stevie, because Stevie said, I'm going to write and produce and do my own thing. If you want to sign me, great. And if you don't, I'll go somewhere else.
So what did Stevie decide? Would he let his Motown contract expire to put maximum pressure on Berry Gordy, the owner of Motown? That would have been a rare and bold move at the time.
We spoke earlier about Stevie's first 10 years where Berry Gordy notoriously is very tight with the money, and Stevie was kind of disappointed at the royalties he received. And then he said, you know what, we're renegotiating this in 1971.
Yeah.
And he gets a massive increase in royalties. He gets an upfront.
He gets £1 million, right?
Yeah.
In 1971, Stevie negotiated a landmark new contract with Berry Gordy and Motown, giving him full artistic control, higher royalties, and an ownership of his publishing rights going forward. His new deal resulted in a 14% royalty rate, up from the previous 2%. This agreement also included an advance of over $900,000 and substantial annual guarantees. Stevie, now age 21, had negotiated better terms, including full creative control and ownership of his music, and gone was the mandate to do cover songs and other creative control exerted by Berry Gordy and Motown. Stevie was free to create his own style, and as the 1970s dawned, as we'll hear next, he would prove his abilities on an entirely new level, one that would impact music forever. So what would Stevie's new music style be now that he had a newly minted contract that guaranteed a clean canvas of creative control? Well, next we'll talk about how Stevie's musical path starts with knocking on a door in New York City.